Okay, today we are going to talk about circle. So over here, let us take a look at a typical circle. So in this case, the O represents the center. And A and B are points on the edge of the circle. So the distance between the center of the circle to B, okay, a point on the circle, this distance is known as the radius. And for radius, we use the small r to represent it. So same thing here, the distance from the center of circle O to A is also known as radius. For the distance from A to B, this line over here that is colored in blue, this line here is that passes through the center O is known as the diameter. So what is the relationship between the diameter and the radius of the circle? Diameter is equals to 2 times the radius. Okay, that's a relationship between diameter and radius. So let me introduce to you the formula to find the circumference of a circle. Okay, what do we mean by circumference? Circumference is referring to the length of this curved line that make up the circle. So this is called the circumference. So how do we find circumference? Circumference of a full circle is given by, the formula is 2 times pi times r, where r is the radius, and pi over here, you can either express as a fraction or decimal. As a fraction is 22/7 or 3.14. So which value of pi you use depends on what is given in the question. Okay, now okay, so over here is given that there are two values for pi. Pi is either 3.14 or 22/7. Okay, now let us take a look at another formula. Okay, but before I introduce to you the formula for area, we will do okay, to find the area of a circle, the formula is given by pi r squared. Pi r squared is you can rewrite as pi times r times r, where r is the radius and pi is the value given as 3.14 or 22/7. So this is the formula to calculate area. To find the circumference of a circle, we'll make use of the formula 2 times pi times r. Okay, 2 pi r. If you rewrite this, pi times 2 times r, you can see that just now we say that 2 times r is actually the diameter. So you can rewrite as pi d. So in this case, you can choose to use the formula 2 pi r or pi d to find the circumference of a circle. Now let us take a look at how to find the area and circumference of a semicircle. Okay. Over here it shows a semicircle, which is actually half a full circle. So how do we find the area of a semicircle? So area of full circle is half times r times r. So to find the area of a semicircle, you multiply by half in front. So it will be half times pi times r times r. For the perimeter of a semicircle, it will consist of this arc length here, which is highlighted in red, and this blue straight line. So we'll calculate the arc length first. So for arc length, since semicircle is half a circle, so you take half times pi d. This will give you the arc length represented in red, then plus the blue line over here is the diameter, so plus d. This will give you the perimeter of a semicircle. Now let us take a look at a quarter circle, which is also known as quadrant. A quadrant is a quarter of a circle. So we will write down the area to find the formula to find the area of a circle, so which is pi times r times r. But since this is 1/4 of a circle, we multiply by 1/4. This will give you the area to find a quadrant. For the perimeter, it consists of this arc length represented in this by this red line plus these two blue straight line. So what you can do is we'll find the arc length due to this red line. So the arc length is 1/4 times pi d plus, okay, each of these blue line here is, since this is the center O, so each of these blue line actually represent a radius. So over here, you can just plus 2 times r, 2 times radius. Okay, now we'll take a look at some of the example, okay, to illustrate this further. Okay, let us take a look at this composite figure. This composite figure is made out of two shapes. Okay, it's made out of a semicircle. Okay, and a rectangle below. Okay, so in this case, we will go ahead and find the perimeter of this figure. Perimeter, remember, perimeter is talking about the length due to the boundary. So you should not include any line within the shape, okay, inside the shape. So we'll take a look at, we'll first find the arc length due to this semicircle. So the arc length due to this semicircle of a semicircle, okay, is given by half times pi d. So in this case, we will take the value of pi, which is given over here, to be 3.14. We just take half times pi, 3.14, times the diameter. The diameter over here, this will be the center of the semicircle. So the diameter, of course, will be 8. So times 8. Okay, so this will give you 12.56 cm. After you have find the arc length, then we can go ahead and find the perimeter now. So the perimeter of this composite figure will be the arc length, which is 12.56, plus 2 width of the rectangle, which is 4 plus 4, plus the length 8. So you will get 28.56 cm. This will be the perimeter for the figure. Now let us take a look at how we find the area of this figure. Okay, to find the area of this figure, we'll need to first find the area due to the semicircle. Okay, so I'll find area A first. So area of A will be, so half times pi times r times r. Gives you half. Pi over here is given by 3.14 times the radius. Okay, for radius in this case, since just now we say that the diameter is 8, so therefore radius will be 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So that means the radius here is 4. So after calculating, okay, you should get 25.12 cm square. Okay. So to find the total area, now we can find the total area. Okay, the total area will be, you take the area of A, which is 25.12, plus the area of B, which is simply the area of a rectangle, 8 times 4. So you get 57.12 cm square. This one is the total area of the figure. Okay, we'll move on to another example. Okay, for this example, we are supposed to find the area and perimeter of the shaded region. So as you can see, this figure is made out of one big semicircle and 2 small semicircle, which is okay, highlighted in blue. So in this case, we will go ahead and find the diameter first. So the diameter of this big semicircle, of course, is 70. So that means we know that the radius of the big semicircle is simply 70 divided by 2, which is 35 cm. Then given that PQ is equals to QO and O is the center of the circle, we know that okay, from P to O, it will be P to O is actually the radius, which is 35. So to find PQ or PO or QO, we just take PQ is equals to QO, which is take 35 divided by 2, and this will give you 17.5 cm. This is the diameter of due to this small semicircle. After that, we can find the radius of the small semicircle. So the radius of small semicircle, you just take 17.5 divided by 2. This will give you the radius, which is 8.75 cm. Now we can go ahead and find the area. So the area, we'll find the area of the big semicircle first. So area of the big semicircle will be given by, since this one is a semicircle, so you just take half times pi times r times r. So half pi is given to be, over here, okay, we just use the value here, which is 3.142. But normally the value of pi is 3.14. Okay, so radius for the big semicircle is 35. So times 35 times 35. You'll get 1924.475 cm squared. Okay, this one is the area of the big semicircle. Now we go and find the area of small semicircle. So area of small semicircle is half times 3.14 times the radius is 8.75. So times 8.75 times 8.75. So we get, just leave your answer to 2 decimal place. So 120.28. So the last step will be to find the shaded area. So shaded area, we will take the area of the big semicircle minus the area of the small semicircle. So this one will just take 1924.475 minus 120.28. But don't forget, there are 2 semicircles here. So that means you times 2. You'll get 1683. 1683.92. So the question asks you to round off the nearest whole number. So you round off to the nearest whole number. You round off, you'll get 1684 cm squared. So this will be the shaded area. Okay, now we'll move on to find the perimeter. So to find the perimeter, just now the diameter for the big semicircle is 35, and the diameter for the small semicircle is 8.75. Okay. Now we want to find the perimeter. So the perimeter will consist of this arc length due to this big semicircle plus the 2 small arc length, and finally the straight line indicated by the green line. So we'll find the arc length, okay, of the big semicircle. So arc length of big semicircle, so we just take half times pi d. So half times 3.142 times the diameter, which is 35. We'll get 54.985 cm. After that, we will move on to find the arc length due to the small semicircle. So arc length of small semicircle. So just take half times pi d again. So half times 3.142 times the diameter is okay. The diameter over here just now. Okay, this one is for the big semicircle. The diameter is supposed to be 70. Okay, and the diameter of the small semicircle is 17.5. So over here, we'll multiply by 70. So we'll get 109.97. So for the arc length of the small semicircle, you take half times pi times d. So the diameter for small semicircle is 17.5. So after calculating, you'll get 24.49. Okay, 27.49 cm. Now we can go ahead and find the perimeter now. So to find the perimeter of the shaded region, we take the arc length due to the big semicircle, which is 109.97, plus the arc length due to these two small semicircle, so it's 27.49 times 2 plus the length due to this green line, which is 35. So you get 199.95. So you round off to the nearest whole number, you will get 200 cm. So this is the area and perimeter of the shaded region. Okay, now let us take a look at the last example. Okay, for this example here, find the area of the shaded part. Okay, to find this area of this shaded part, you can see that this big circle is divided into 4 quadrants. So to find one of these shaded part here, okay, you can take the quadrant minus the area of a triangle. Okay, you will be able to find one of these shaded part. So what I will do is I will find the area of the quadrant. So area of quadrant will be equals to 1/4 times pi times the radius is 7. So r times r. So you get 38.5. So this is the area due to 1 quadrant. After that, we can find the area of the triangle. So area of this triangle, which is colored in green, the base and height happens to be the same. So we take half times base, 7, times the height. Get 24.5 cm squared. So to find the shaded part, we will take the area of 1 quadrant, which is 38.5, minus 24.5. Then don't forget there's 2 of these, so you times 2. So your final answer should be 28 centimeter square. Okay, that's all for circle. Hope this helps you to have a better understanding of this topic. Okay.